ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति 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 Namaste to everyone.
Welcome to all the members, including some of them are new today. I'm happy that today Dr. Preeti Joshi is going to have a webinar. I know Preeti for the last 3 decades, since the days she used to work for Center for Science and Villages, where Dr. Devendra Kumar was the chairman. And subsequently, Devendra Kumarji became a vice chancellor of Gandhigram University. And during his tenure in Gandhigram, he used to come to our Vivekanandapuram campus quite often. So virtually we had a, what you can say, very good relationship with the organization itself. So Preeti started her career with Center for Science and Villages. She was also having some projects in Kapat, and because of that, we used to meet quite often. Now, before she starts her webinar, I will request our Madan Kumar to introduce our Vasudha project. After that, Shrimati Veluswamy will introduce Preeti Joshi formally, and then the webinar will start. Over to Madan Kumar.
Namaste Didi, and I am Madan. Earlier I've seen you. Probably I don't know whether you could recall my association. I was working with Vasudevji for 10 years, between 85 to 97 as such.
Yes.
As you would be knowing that about our Vivekananda Kendra NARDEP, from its inception, it's been working in the field of natural resource conservation, which led to multiple dimensions of making meaningful interventions in relevant technologies, which matters for the future. We did some pilot experiments, and as a result of that, we could showcase, and we should also scale up also. Building on those initiatives, we had our Green Rameshwaram initiative, which we revived the Tirthams which were gone out of the ambit of our own vision. So we could do that. Subsequently, we were initiating a visual part of it, an exhibit in terms of Gramodya Park, in which we made a very interesting exhibits of the works done to showcase the feasibility and possibility of doing it elsewhere also. Then, matching with the advancements in the technology, we came out with the Vasudha concept, in which we enabled the whole digital media in terms of showcasing the works on sustainable living. Building on that, with the directions of the facilitations and the guidance of working group members and Dilip Kulkarni ji, we were in a position to make a lot in terms of presenting the concepts, principles, and also the practices involved in sustainable living. The first one was on the stories of the practitioners who have been living the concept. Then the cultural side of our own vision. The cultural side of our own vision was being put into the things. And subsequently, we had a lot of orientations in the subjects in terms of having TOTs for the people in this subject. However, we could not succeed as we intend to be. Then we were trying to collaborate with universities. Naturally, the patience and the perseverance which took us to the next level in terms of many people, schools and other people coming into our vision for the training. And recent episode on the feedback of the schools who participated in it is a testimonial for our own work. Now we have given this assignment of our Sacred Earth book to many of the colleges to write exams. Then we will have an orientation program on the sustainable living. Miles to go. We know that of late we came out with the concept of certificate course on the sustainable living, where in which we have been trying to collaborate with Bhishma Institute, where Shitji and our Virendra Joshi have been instrumental in terms of trying to facilitate us to bring out the concept for the year-long program as such. So experiments and inputs have been sought from different people on this subject. So we wish and pray the present inputs which you are going to give us, and subsequently wherein the earlier people who have given and future also, wherein which we'll be in a position to call all those who are interested in this pursuit to join this fraternity of sustainability. Thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you, Madan. Now over to Veluswamy for formal introduction of Dr. Preeti Joshi. Over to Velu.
Namaste to all. Dr. Preeti Joshi is born and brought up in Bhopal, Madhya Pradesh, completed her MSc Botany from Bhopal. She has completed her PhD in Botany from Nagpur University in 1992 in the field of biodegradation of organic materials. She is lead international fellow of Cohort 5 in the year 1996, Leadership for Environment and Development. She is working in the areas of biological waste management, composting techniques, and promotion of organic farming amongst farmers in different villages after completing her PhD. She has worked with various NGOs, Center of Science for Villages Varda, Vikas Mitra Bastar, and Dara Mitra Varda, and government organizations IIT Delhi, Khadi and Village Industries Commission Mumbai, and Mahatma Gandhi Institute for Rural Industrialization Varda during her professional career spanning from 1987 to 2009. From 2009 onwards, she has started working independently with the National Organization for Community Welfare Varda, Maharashtra, as Director and Secretary. She is now devoting her full time for rural development and working in the area on organic kitchen garden development with the rural women and children to overcome the problem of malnutrition and anemia. She is also working as consultant and trainer for Anemia Free Vidarbha Forum, AFVF, initiated by Srimati Dilnivas Variaba from Sahayak Trust, Mumbai. It is a network of NGOs working in different districts of Vidarbha, India, to solve the problem of nutrition deficient anemia in rural women by encouraging and training them to grow organic nutrition gardens at home or on farm. Besides this, her organization is working on skill upgradation through vocational training for rural students, especially school dropouts. She gives trainings on composting techniques, organic kitchen garden development, organic farming, and sustainable development to village farmers, NGOs, and volunteers. She is at present working in 26 villages of Varda district with the participation of local people for holistic rural development. She is at present working as consultant for Sri Mukti Sanketan office at Gram Seva Mandal, Gopuri, Varda on zero waste management project since January 2019. She has received a Young Scientist Award, that is Women in Appropriate Technology and Innovation Award, Kushik Mitra Award, and Maharashtra Ratna Award 2022. We are delighted to have Dr. Preeti Joshi with us today and eagerly look forward for her valuable insights. Thank you.
Good morning and a very Welcome to the special Sunday. I am very thankful to you for inviting me to this forum. And thank you, Velu Swamiji, for a very elaborate introduction. I'm just a small worker working with the people and still learning and have to learn more. So as Vasudev ji has mentioned that I have been started my career from Center of Science for Villages, Dattapur in 1987. I completed my MSc in 1987. During my MSc, I was just thinking that how can I use my education for the welfare of the society. And fortunately, I came to Wardha with my father and met Dr. Devendra Bhai. He was running an institute known as Center of Science for Villages. So immediately next day I went to CSV and I saw that how the people are working for the welfare of the society and how the science and technology is used for the to reduce the drudgery of the people. So I have seen people working there on biogas and composting, on rural housing, on honeybee rearing, and various different technologies. So I like that idea, and I started working with biogas and composting department. So during all these periods of my work, almost 38 years of my work, I have been working in the areas of utilization of terrestrial weeds for compost making, promotion of organic farming through agroindustry school, kitchen garden development involving rural women, and awareness generation in urban areas for waste management. And I'm also working with the waste picker women. So I will be elaborating my work on all these topics. When I joined Dr. Tarak Kate in CSV, I saw that time he was working for the preparation of alternative feeding material for biogas plant, because farmer has less cows, so there was not enough feeding material for biogas plant. So he was making biodung, that is dung from the biomass, using leafy biomass, especially aquatic weeds, in the polythene bags. And after 10 days of decomposition, that extract of that leafy biomass was used to feed to the biogas plant. But I found that the pulp which remained after taking out the extract was a very good compost. It had a high nutrient value. It was its humus content was good. Its microflora was good. So I thought, why not let me develop this as a very good compost material. And later on, I completed my PhD on this biodung composting method, total scientific study of this biodung composting method from Nagpur University. But still the question remained the same, that how this little biodung compost can be used to enrich the soil for the agriculture purpose. So I again, after completing my PhD from Nagpur, I came back to Wardha again, to CSV again, and started on the field optimization of this biodung compost method. What I did, I just piled different layers of biomass under a tree shade, and each layer was sprinkled with the cow dung slurry, fresh cow dung slurry, because fresh cow dung is rich in microflora. So one layer well soaked with water, well soaked with the cow dung slurry, and then another layer followed by another layer. In this way, a heap of up to 5 feet height was prepared, and it was completely covered with a black polythene sheet. The main purpose using behind the black polythene sheet was that it helped in conservation of moisture, absorption of moisture inside. It created a dark environment, and it helped in increasing the temperature inside the heap. Right from the second day, the temperature of the heap went to 50 degrees centigrade, 60 degrees centigrade, and it remained high till 1 week. This helped in killing all the pathogen seeds and the weed seeds. So after 15 days, we have to turn this heap and again cover it with polythene sheet, apply water if required, and then after 1.5 months of this turning, we have to remove the polythene sheet and allow the compost to cool down. So with the help of green biomass, especially all the terrestrial weeds like Parthenium, Congress, common grass, Clerodendron, Lantana camera, and all mixed agriculture waste, this compost was prepared using biodung heap. I also demonstrated this compost to farmers. I had a DST project of field optimization of biodung compost in 5 villages of Wardha district. But farmers did not accept this biodung compost, and they were afraid of applying this compost on their farm because they thought that because this is made from the terrestrial weeds, it will spread the weeds on their farm, and it will increase their expenditure for the weeding. So I myself took a farm in the village itself, in the Haradgaon village, and did all the trials of this biodung compost on the agriculture farm. So for 3 consecutive years, I did various trials of the biodung compost on the agriculture farm, and I have shown that this, with the help of this biodung compost, no weeds are grown on the farm, and the yield was better than what yield was achieved by using chemical fertilizers. So when the people saw that the yield of my farm was better than their farm, in which they had used chemical fertilizers, they were surprised, and they all came to visit my farm, and they discussed with the farmer who was working on my farm, and when they got assured that no, only this biodung compost has been applied and this is the result of the biodung compost, they were all very happy and satisfied. And then slowly they started using that compost method. They started using all the weeds to make compost along with the cow dung. Before that, they had a belief that only cow dung is a good manure and you can't make a manure out of the biomass. So there was a change in their mindset, and they started using weeds also for making compost. After that, when I joined Dharamitra, we have started promoting organic farming to the farmers, and we have done various training programs for the farmers on different organic farming techniques. But somehow farmers were electing for using organic farming techniques because they felt that their yield will go down if they don't use chemical fertilizer. Their yield will go down, and they will not get good yield. So what I did, we started an agro-industry school, an evening school for the farmers. And in that evening school, we used to invite good organic farmers who has been doing organic farming 5 to 6 years. And they used to teach other farmers, the chemical farmers, the conventional farmers. They used to share their experience with the chemical farmers. And after that, the exposure visits were also organized to this organic farmers field, so that the farmers can see that even without chemical fertilizer, by using organic farming techniques, a good agriculture yield can be taken out. And this was also followed by the practical training of different organic farming techniques like composting, liquid manure preparation, Jeevamrit preparation, herbal pesticides preparation, and all. So after taking this training, these are some of the picture of our evening agro-industry schools, and this is the exposure visits to one of the organic farmer who was doing avla with organic farming. One of our farmer, Rajendra, he got very impressed with all these organic farming techniques, and he started applying Jeevamrit on his papaya plantation, and he got bumper yield. He was surprised that he said, I didn't get such a good yield since last 5 years of my papaya cultivation practices. And after seeing his bumper yield, all the farmers were also impressed, and they also started applying organic manure and especially Sanjeevak and herbal pesticides on their farm to get good yields. They used to do chemical farming in the non-food crops like soybean and cotton, but for the food crops like pigeon pea or wheat, they used to do organic farming. In that way, they have done a selection. So while working with the farmers in the evening school, we also interacted with a woman in the evening classes only, and we saw that the women were suffering from fatigue, body ache, and they were not feeling well because of the overwork. The main reason behind that fatigue was the lack of nutrition, because we found that most of the farmers were growing soya bean and cotton and non-food crops. So for the vegetables and for the food crops, this woman have to depend on the market. and they used to purchase vegetables only in the weekly market. Only the frequency was once in a week or twice in a week. So their nutrition was lacking in from their food. They used to only eat vegetables only once in a week. This is the reason that most of the children were also malnourished. So for these women, we gave them a training in kitchen garden development, and we also provided them the seeds. And the women have a particular habit that if they get some seed, they will surely sow it. They don't waste the seeds. So women and both the school children were very enthusiastic in development of kitchen garden. Some people developed kitchen garden in the courtyard of their house. Some people did in a part of their farm, and almost all the women developed kitchen garden wherever they got the space. And we have given them the training of seed treatment, making of different plots, making Jeevamrit, making compost, and they made it sure that in these vegetable crops they didn't apply any chemical fertilizer or chemical pesticides, because they knew that we have to eat it. Our family is going to consume this vegetables. So and they knew that if they apply chemical fertilizer, pest will come, and the pest will come, then pesticide, we have to spray pesticide, and we don't want to consume this poison. So all 100% kitchen gardens were developed voluntarily by women in bioorganic farming techniques. So you can here see the pictures of some successful kitchen gardens. People use whatever space that available. Some people did leafy vegetables in the courtyard of their house. Some did where they have less space. They used they grew climber vegetables. Some did kitchen gardening in a part of their farm. So all the women whoever we had given the training in the seas, they participated and developed very good kitchen garden because they had the basic skill of farming. And there was a wonderful impact of this kitchen garden development. Women were so happy, they were getting fresh vegetable at their doorstep. Therefore, the frequency of consumption of vegetables increased from 1 day in a week or 2 days in a week to 5 to 6 days in a week. Children also liked the taste of these fresh vegetables, and they started eating vegetables. And since they were also involved in growing vegetables, they got enthusiastic and see, humne lagaya hai to hum khayenge. Like that, they started themselves eating vegetables. And the result was that the more it started improving in the body weight of the children. The hemoglobin of women was increased to 1 to 3 grams in the period of 3 months. Initially, when we had taken hemoglobin before the kitchen garden, most of the women were found anemic. Their hemoglobin was 10 gram and even less. But after 3 to 4 months, when they had consumed enough vegetables, their hemoglobin was again tested. It was found to be 11 gram, 12 gram, almost approaching to normal. So basically, they were suffering from the nutrition deficient anemia. Secondly, women were also happy because their expenditure on purchase of vegetables was reduced. Initially, they had to purchase the vegetables of say 500 to 600 rupees per month, but now it was reduced to 100 rupees or 50 rupees per month. This helped in natural multiplication of the kitchen garden through mouth publicity. The women who were the beneficiary, they told to their neighbor, the relatives, and how kitchen garden has helped them. They also shared the seeds. So immediately in the next year, when in the first year we had developed 15 kitchen gardens, in the next year there were 35 kitchen gardens. And this kitchen garden program grew slowly from 5 villages initially to 26 villages in the period of 3 years. And you will be surprised to know that in these 26 villages, we had only distributed this seeds of 21,000 rupees. But the vegetables they consumed in 1 year in all 26 villages, in all 200 kitchen gardens, it cost around about 4.5 lakhs rupees. So it is such an output. So this was a very impactful program. Looking at the wonderful impact of this kitchen garden program, it was very well taken up by the local government bodies like local primary health center people, because doctors also were involved in this program initially. So they started training their ASHA workers, their ANM, to encourage more and more women in the villages to grow kitchen garden, especially the pregnant woman and lactating mother, because these pregnant women and lactating mother, if they're anemic, it directly affects on the health of the child. So PSC also help in extending this program. Local NGOs, government bodies also has taken up this program, and they extended it through women self-help groups. So even after we withdrew from this project, the program was well taken up by the local people, and the Sahayak Trust organization, which has helped me in starting this program in some villages in the beginning, also has taken up this program at a wide scale. Initially, we started Anemia Free Wither Forum through Kitchen Garden, and now it has been extended to at national level to Anemia Free India Forum. Means this through Sahayak Trust, this program is now extended throughout the country. This was a very kitchen garden development was a very impactful program in the rural areas. After that, I thought that we should also concentrate on the urban area. So at present, I am working with Sri Mukti Sangatna, basically on the problem of this waste management and working with the waste picker women. Wardha is a small city with 3 lakhs of people population. Average household on an average, an household produces 200 to 250 grams of green waste daily. Wardha city alone produces 30 tons of waste daily, of which 50% of the waste is a green waste. And this waste is transported to vehicles to a village known as Injala and is stored into a big heaps. And as you know, this mixed waste also contains green waste, which is decomposed in the course of time, and it produces greenhouse gases like methane, nitrous oxide, carbon dioxide, chlorofluorocarbon, etc. Methane is highly inflammable gas. As you all know, methane is highly inflammable gas, and therefore these waste heat often catch fire, and it creates pollution, as well as it also brings threat to the people living around that Injara village. And greenhouse gases are also responsible for increasing temperature of the earth and leading to the climate change. And this year, the temperature of the Wardha district is highest in India. It has gone up to 47 degrees centigrade in the daytime. So, because of this dumping waste at one time, all this climate changing is happening. These are some of the pictures of the waste management system practice in Wardha Municipal Corporation. At present, they are doing segregation also. So all the 30 vehicles are brought to the dumping station at Injala, and then waste picker women are involved in doing the manual segregation of this waste, and then this waste is segregated into different types, like plastic separated, cloths are separated, polythene bags are separated, paper is separated, and the green waste is separated. And then the green waste is used to make compost. But it is a huge work. So many people, more than 100 laborers are involved in segregation of this waste and then converting into a compost. And it's also very unhygienic, because with this waste comes the diaper, the dangerous waste, the diaper, the sanitary napkins, the injections, the medical waste, which all these women have to separate manually, which is very unhygienic. So what we are promoting segregation of waste at source. We are taking classes in the schools and colleges on the concept of zero waste management. We are also taking programs in the colonies where we are trying to convince people how you can segregate the waste at source. This, you don't need to segregate the waste at all. You have to just keep the waste separately. If you maintain 2 to 3 dustbins at home, one dustbin you can keep your dry waste like paper and plastic in one dustbin. Another dustbin you can keep the green waste, and the third dustbin you can keep the dangerous waste like sanitary napkins, diapers, chemicals, paints, etc. So the dry waste can be sold to the scrap dealers, and people can earn some money from it, paper can be sent to recycling centers, or they can be used, it can be reused at home also. Green waste can be very well composted, and we have developed different methods to do home composting. And only the dangerous waste like sanitary napkins, diapers, chemicals, paints, medicines, etc., can be sent to dumping station for a scientific landfilling. So it will reduce the waste to only 20 to 30% of the whole waste, and that problem of creation of greenhouse gases and pollution, it will be reduced to some extent. So now I am going to share you some of the methods how can you do the composting at home. This is a compost basket developed by Sri Mukti Sangatna, in which a normal plastic basket is aligned with a mesh, so that the mosquitoes and the ants won't enter in the basket, and there will be good aeration will be maintained inside it. And we give 2 kgs of good compost culture in this basket, and every day the lady from the kitchen has to add all the kitchen waste, whatever is vegetable waste, kitchen waste, whatever is produced in the kitchen, and mix it with this culture. We also provide a panja with that. We can mix it the kitchen waste with the compost culture. So like this way, every day we have to go on adding our kitchen waste and mix it with the culture. Although this basket is not full very soon, because as it gets composted, the pile goes down and the basket is always half empty for adding next culture. But if you want to harvest the compost at one point of time, we just have to stop watering, stop adding new fresh kitchen waste into it, and sieve the compost. So the culture which is at the bottom layer of the basket is sieved, and fine compost is taken out, and the compost which is on the top of the basket is separated, and it is again filled in the basket to start kitchen waste composting again. So in this way, this very good compost is prepared, and this compost is also used as culture. Means you can multiply the baskets. With this culture, you can start another basket or third basket. If you have more kitchen waste, you can do it in more baskets, and very good compost is prepared from using this compost basket. But some people told that they also have a garden waste. So what to do with the garden waste? Then we have designed different types of compost bin for garden waste. Like this is a single bin composter. In this, you can add more amount of biomass with the culture. You can add also garden waste, you can add leaf waste, you can add kitchen waste, everything in this composter. But what problem we face in this composting, that when we have to separate the undecomposed material, the fresh compost material, and the compost, the finally prepared compost, it was a bit difficult. So then I developed this 3-tier developed composting bin. In this, in the top chamber, we have to collect the biomass, the kitchen waste, fresh kitchen waste and then when it is collected in the first chamber, we can just pull out this tray and transfer it to the another chamber, and in the third chamber, from the third chamber, you can get the final compost. But in this also, it was not very user friendly, because it was difficult to pull out the tray and transfer the compost from one chamber to another chamber. So then I have designed a very easy, user friendly 2-bin vermicomposter. It has 2 sections, and it is a transportable compost unit. You can it had a wheel at the bottom, so you can just move it from here to there. So in one first chamber, you have to collect the biomass, and we have to mix it with the culture. You can also pour earthworms in it, and after the first chamber is filled, you can start collecting it in the another chamber. So by the time the second chamber is filled, the compost is ready in the first chamber, and you can harvest the compost from the first chamber. So this twin composter became very popular. It was also very good for earthworm vermicomposting. After that, I developed a big model for garden waste composting as well as kitchen waste composting. With the help of this this composter, vermicompost and vermiwash unit, we can also harvest vermiwash and compost wash as a liquid manure, which can be sprayed on the plants directly. But these compost units are a bit expensive. The minimum cost was 5,000 to 6,000 rupees, and the cost of this what big composter was about 10,000 rupees. So people may not afford this big composter for the home composting. So I've just developed even simple techniques. This is just 150 rupees plastic cover with which we just cover our motorcycle in the rainy season. It is used on my terrace. I just brought it and put all my kitchen waste, garden waste, flower waste, everything in it, and it was well soaked with the cow dung slurry, and a thin layer of soil was provided above it, and then it was covered with the polythene sheet again. Means I used biodung technique for these for this compost making. And surprisingly, I saw that after 1 month, all the biomass, whatever it was, flower waste or a kitchen waste or a garden waste, was just decomposed into a very good soil material. So I just mix that soil and the compost and just sow the seeds of bhendi, lady's figure, on this cover itself, and you can see the luxuriant growth of bhendi crop on this thing. And this is one time use. After 3-4 months you can just dispose it off. So here the basic point is that if you make a good soil, with organic matter into it, decomposed organic matter or compost in it, the yield of the crop is very good. Wherever you can grow, you can, even on the terrace also you can grow, and you can see the healthy growth of lady's finger on the terrace. Then I designed small containers, small bamboo baskets. This is also a terrace garden. I just put the bamboo baskets above 1 foot height, so that whatever water drains out doesn't wet my terrace, and whatever water drains out, it is collected in a drum, and then again it can be reused. So in a bamboo basket, I have just lined all it with the cotton cloth, maybe a mattress or a sari or a dupatta, so that the soil doesn't move away from the basket. And there is one layer of kitchen waste or organic waste or garden waste, whatever we have, and then this layer is covered with a thin layer of soil. So this way we have to go on filling this basket. One layer of kitchen waste followed by soil, a layer of kitchen waste followed by soil every day. So say in 15 to 20 days, this basket is filled. Sometimes it takes even more days if you have less biomass. And after this basket is filled, we just sprinkle a little water on it and allow the biomass to decompose for 15 to 20 days. And when we see there is an indication if there are ants in the basket, means the biomass is yet to be decomposed. When all the ants move away, means there is nothing for them to eat, and the biomass is converted into compost. Then we mix all the soil and the compost inside, and then we directly sow seeds on it. You can see here I have sown palak, spinach seeds in the basket, and you can see here the luxuriant growth of spinach in the basket. Because it's an organic spinach, you don't need to uproot it. We just prune the leaves, and the leaves are grown again and again. So from this one single basket, I harvested spinach for 3 months. Similarly, we can grow all the leafy vegetables, whether it is coriander, whether it is fenugreek or choli vegetable, whatever leafy vegetables, seasonal vegetables we can grow in these baskets. Anything which has a root system of say 6 inches or 1 feet, we can grow in the basket. Similarly, I have also grown tomato, I have grown onions, I have grown fenugreek, I have grown choli bhaji, various leafy vegetables I have grown in this basket. If you have good soil, you can grow vegetable anywhere. This is one example that I had grown radish in a refined oil packet, and you can see the rich growth of leaves in the radish. I could get radish after 3 months, but I could harvest the leaves 3 to 4 times before harvesting the radish, the mula. You can see the rich growth in the plant, brinjal plant, eggplant also here. So when we prepare good soil using kitchen waste, the growth of the vegetable is very good, and you can get good organic vegetables at your doorstep. And all this system is basically designed for the urban people, for the urban kitchen garden. These are some of the photographs of my own terrace garden. Here I have grown leafy vegetable again in a broken syntax tank. Then I have a lemon tree in a broken drum. Similarly, I have grown a flower tree also in a drum. I have a very small space in my courtyard, but still I have a papaya tree, custard apple tree, I have a drumstick tree, I have a curry patta leaf in that single line of the in my courtyard, and it is based on more of biomass and less of soil. If your good soil is prepared by recycling of the biomass, you can get good yield. Besides vegetables, I am trying to become independent in my energy production. I have installed solar panel in my house, so it has given me electric independence. My electric bill is zero since last 2 years, and I am also cooking my food by using induction chula by using the solar panel electricity produced in electricity. So the LPG consumption in my house is very less. I have also done roof water harvesting in my house. I have an open well, so I have taken all the water whichever during rainy season, whatever water falls on my roof is harvested, is transferred to my open well. So there is enough water in my well throughout the year, and I have also done the groundwater harvesting, because you can see because of the road, the level of my house has gone low and the level of the road is high. So all the water that flows from the road, from the neighboring house, from my house, all goes into the soak pit. This soak pit is 5 feet 8 in depth, so a lot of water percolates into the soak pit and helps in recharging my well. So this is the way I am doing water recharging of my well, and fortunately there is no scarcity of water in my well. I get good water throughout the year. So this is all. In this way, I am trying to live a self-sustainable life as far as the production of vegetables is concerned, energy is concerned, water requirement is concerned. But I'm still a beginner. I have to go ahead and I have to make myself more self-sustained in the field of health. I want to become such a healthy person that the expenditure on my health should be reduced almost to nil. So on that aspect I am working, because at present the medical expenditure of my on my health and is more than my food expenses. So I am working on that aspect, that how can I become healthy by eating all these good vegetables, by taking care of my health, and become self-sustainable in maintaining my own health. This is all about my work. I hope if I've done any mistake or overlapping due to my speed, please sorry. I'm sorry for it, and we are open for discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Preeti, for a good presentation. I was very happy to know that you are still working at a grassroots level, which is
Yes.
very difficult. Now over to Madan Kumar for.
I have just completed 60 years today, Vasudevji.
Oh,
Today is my birthday and I completed 60 years.
luckily your birthday. Wish you all the best.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, welcome Subhashji. You can have your questions please for reflection and deeper understanding.
प्रीती मॅडमना त्यांच्या वाढदिवसाच्या शुभेच्छा.
Thank you.
खूप चांगलं प्रेझेंटेशन आहे तुमचं इंडिव्हिज्युअल म्हणून. ॲज अ इंडिव्हिज्युअल यू हॅव मेड लॉट ऑफ डेव्हलपमेंट्स, किचन गार्डन वगैरे तुमचं खूपच इंडिव्हिज्युअली चांगलं आहे. पण शहरामध्ये आता मी जिथे राहतो अंबरनाथ शहरात, पनवेलकर ग्रीन सिटी म्हणून आमचा कॉम्प्लेक्स आहे. जवळजवळ 400 पर्यंत फ्लॅट्स आहेत. एका बिल्डिंगमध्ये 42 फ्लॅट्स आहेत. तर अशा ठिकाणी बेसिकली हे गार्डनिंग करता येईल. मी माझ्या बिल्डिंग मधल्या महिलांना एकत्र करून सॅग्रिगेशनचं महत्व सांगितलं होतं. घरामध्ये वस्तू आली की जागेवर सॅग्रिगेट करायची. स्वयंपाक झाला की खरकट भाजी निवडली की भाजीचे देठ वगैरे हे जागेवर करायचं.
बरोबर.
पण सॉरी टू से आपल्याकडे कसं होतं की महिला वर्किंग असतात, त्यांना त्यांच्या प्रायोरिटीज वेगळ्या असतात. दॅट इज द मेन हर्डल. आणि अशा मोठ्या कॉम्प्लेक्समध्ये काय अडचण येते की मग ह्याला थोडं फुल टाइमच मॅनपॉवर डिप्लॉय करायला लागते. जे सगळे झालेले डस्टबिन गोळा करून. आणि आता ह्या शहरांमध्ये कसं आहे की घंटा गाडी हा विषय सगळ्याच अर्बन लोकल बॉडीजनी सुरू केलेला आहे, टू कलेक्ट द वेस्ट ॲट डोअर स्टेप. आणि मग त्या घंटा गाडीवरती जी लोक असतात डिप्लॉईड कामगार, तो त्यांची रोजीरोटी ती बनते. जो कचरा बिल्डिंग्स मधून दिला जातो त्याच्यामध्ये बाटल्या, प्लास्टिक, पुठ्ठा, कागद, थर्माकोल, कपडा हे सगळं ते लोक सॅग्रिगेट करतात आणि त्याच्यामुळे बिल्डिंग्स मधल्या लोकांचा उत्साह कमी होतो. हा शहरांमधला प्रॉब्लेम बेसिकली आहे. तर ह्याच्यामध्ये कसं लक्ष घालून त्याला काय करता येईल? अर्बन लोकल बॉडीजना तर ते ड्युटी बाउंड आहेत. त्यांनी आता सगळ्याच अर्बन लोकल बॉडीजनी सॉलिड वेस्ट मॅनेजमेंटचे चार्जेस पण प्रॉपर्टी टॅक्स मध्ये सुरू केलेले आहेत. पर फ्लॅट दे चार्ज फॉर दॅट बिकॉज दे वॉन्ट टू स्पेंड फॉर दॅट. मग याच्यामध्ये छोटंसं मॉडेल, जसं तुम्ही तुमचं एक मॉडेल तयार केलंय तसं एखाद्या बिल्डिंगचं जरी मॉडेल आपण तयार करू शकलो तरी दॅट कॅन बी रिप्लिकेटेड. अगदी छोटी बिल्डिंग घेतली आणि त्याच्यामध्ये जर सॅग्रिगेशन केलं, खाली कंपोस्ट पीट बनवलं, एक 15x20, 10x10चं गार्डनिंग केलं लहान बिल्डिंगमध्ये, तरी करता येईल. मी माझ्याबरोबर असलेल्या अनुभवाचा तुम्हाला म्हणजे काय असेल उपयोग होऊ शकत असेल तर माझी तयारी आहे. आपण कुठे राहता मॅडम?
मी वर्धेला आहे.
वर्धा.
मी
ओ,
याच्याबद्दल सांगू इच्छिते की पुणे आणि मुंबईमध्ये याच्यावर खूप काम झालं आहे आणि वेगवेगळ्या सोसायटीजनी वेस्ट पिकर वुमनला एम्प्लॉय केलं आहे. ते वेस्ट पिकर वुमन घरोघरी जातात आणि त्या महिलांकडनं किचन वेस्ट आणि जे काही 2 डस्टबिन वेगळे वेगळे घेतात आणि मग काही सोसायटीजमध्ये त्या सोसायटीच्या कॅम्पसमध्ये त्याचा कंपोस्ट तयार होतो आणि ते बाकीचे ड्राय वेस्ट ते महिला सेग्रिगेट करून घेऊन जातात. आणि आमच्याकडे आणि काही शहरांमध्ये जे अर्बन लोकल बॉडीज आहे, नगर परिषद वगैरे आहे, त्यांनी हे कंपल्सरी केलं आहे की तुम्हाला ओला कचरा आणि सुका कचरा म्हणजे ड्राय वेस्ट आणि ग्रीन वेस्ट मला सेपरेटलीच द्यायचं आहे. त्याच्यामुळे मग तो पोल्युशनचा प्रॉब्लेम येत नाही.
मॅडम कागदावरती खूप साऱ्या गोष्टी आहेत. आय टेल यू, कागदावरती तर असं आहे की 100 पेक्षा जास्त फ्लॅट असलेल्या सोसायटीमध्ये दे आर बल्क कंपोस्टिंग क्रिएटर, सो त्यांना त्यांचा वेस्ट डिस्पोज करायला लागतो पण नाही केलं जात. दॅट इज द प्रॉब्लेम बेसिकली. आय नो मॅडम सर.
हा, पुण्याला एक संस्था आहे स्वच्छ म्हणून, तुम्ही त्यांना संपर्क करू शकता. आणि इव्हन मुंबईला जी आमची संस्था असलेली संघटना आहे त्यांनी वेगळ्या वेगळ्या सोसायटीजमध्ये वेगवेगळे कंपोस्ट टँक तयार केले, डिझाईन केलेले आहे आणि तिथे स्पेशली वेस्ट पिकर वुमनला इन्व्हॉल्व करून त्यांचं त्या सोसायटीचा वेस्ट सोसायटीमध्ये रिसायकल कसं करता येईल याच्याबद्दल पण काम केलं. पण त्याच्यामध्ये कसं असतं की सोसायटी फंड मधून त्याला पैसा द्यावा लागतो. तर त्या सोसायटी सोबत त्यांच्यासोबत MOU होतो. तर सगळं पहिले सोसायटीवाल्यांशी बोलून मग ते करता येऊ शकतं. तुम्ही पुण्याचं स्वच्छ मॉडेल खूप फेमस आहे, तुम्ही त्याच्याबद्दल माहिती घेऊ शकता.
म्हणजे सस्टेनेबल कुठे झालं असेल की जिथे कंटिन्युटी आहे?
पुण्याला खूप सारे महिला.
काइंडली गिव्ह द रेफरन्स मॅडम, वी विल कॉन्टॅक्ट. येस येस.
हा, स्वच्छ संस्था तुम्हाला मी लोकांचं ऍड्रेस देते.
चालेल चालेल.
चांगलं काम सुरू आहे.
चालेल चालेल. थँक्यू मॅडम. थँक्यू
Banerjee, and congratulations on your 60th birthday.
Thank you.
I have completed 80.
Thank you.
So I have a problem. I have 2 problems, and I would like to seek your advice on how to address them. One is that all around our complex, on all 4 directions, every day waste is burnt, and very, very bad gases are emanated into the atmosphere, and we are suffering from those, gases, smoke, etc. I do not know how to stop this burning. In fact, somebody said that there's a law and it should be stopped, and some tehsildar was approached to stop this burning, but nothing is happening. So how to go about this issue of preventing burning of waste all around us, which is very, very unhealthy? This is number 1. And number 2, madam, is we are staying in an apartment complex where there are 144 dwelling units, and we have segregation of waste at home. Every home we are having segregation of waste that is happening, but the kitchen waste, which is biodegradable, that is not getting composted. So do you have some solution where, if you take 100 into 500, 250, some 2,500, 2.5 tons perhaps comes every day. How can that be composted? These are the 2 questions I have. And thank you very much for your presentation, and I will try to get the details, and then we will try to practice as much as possible in our own home. Thank you very much once again.
Most welcome. Actually, regarding the second question, we can do household composting at individual level by using the bins. There are many people who are working on this household composting. I can also send you my literature how to make compost at home by using your own kitchen waste. And at community level also, we can, if the society agrees, we can have a compost tank in the society, and we can collect. We can employ other women workers who can collect the kitchen waste from everyone and do the composting. We can train those women to how to make good compost from the kitchen waste and the garden waste. Regarding that bulk,
There is a system of women workers who are collecting this kitchen waste, but they're dumping it and then nothing is happening. That is what is the current status.
so then we can, who has employed those women? The Nagar Parishad has, Nagar Palika has employed, or they are a private
No, this
worker?
this is managed within the society, and we have got some coordinator, and they have employed them, and they are doing this. This is internally organized. This is all self-driven.
Then we can, you can ask the society people so that we can have a separate training program for these women, and they will be trained to make compost there itself. But the society has to spend money for construction of compost tanks.
How much will it cost, madam?
It depends on how much biomass is available, how many flats are there. So depending on the raw material available, we can design the tank. We can design one tank or two tank, how much space is available. We can talk in detail on this.
Okay, thanks.
I live in Pune and in bungalow, stay in a bungalow system. And since 2009, I have been practicing zero garbage house.
Practice.
So in my this thing, if actually I tried even composting the sanitary. I don't know whether this is correct, okay, but few years before I was trying to do the sanitary napkin also and bio waste in my composting, and I had tested that soil also and from Inora, and it was same as the soil found as down. म्हणजे माती जशी होते तसं. तर मला फक्त एक प्रश्न आहे की प्रश्न म्हणजे मला की द कॉक्रोचेस थोडे कॉम्पोस्टिंग बिन्समध्ये येतात. सो व्हॉट इज म्हणजे त्यांना काय करता येईल त्याच्यात?
कॉक्रोचेस तुमचा जो वेस्ट आहे तेच खायला येत आहे, पण कॉक्रोचेस जास्त डीप मध्ये जाऊ शकत नाही. तुमचा जो कंपोस्ट युनिट आहे थोडासा जर डीप असं त्याच्यामध्ये सारखं तुम्ही पाणी टाकत राहिले तर मग कॉक्रोचेस येणार नाही. आणि रिगार्डिंग द सॅनिटरी नॅपकिन्स, नो, इट इज नॉट सेफ टू रिसायकल इन द कंपोस्ट पिट बिकॉज इट मे ऍड टू इन्क्रीजिंग इन इन्फेक्शन्स. So it is good either to bury it in the soil or to burn it.
Okay. No, but I found it and I got tested, got the soil test, compost tested also, and it contained the same amount of E. coli which was found in the soil.
So for one time or
This
two
is
time
on
it's
personal.
okay.
This is on personal.
And for one time or two time it is okay, but it is not recommended to use sanitary napkins because
Okay.
it may increase infection. So you have to bury it or burn it.
Okay.
It is not safe hygienically.
Okay. And the rest on that the segregation should be done at the source.
At source,
Actually.
yeah.
Actually.
And that is easy also. It is very easy to segregate waste.
Yes,
at
it
source.
is very, and I have 4 bins now in my house. One
That
for
is very
plastic, one for paper, one for kitchen
Composting,
waste,
yeah. Kitchen
and
waste, yeah.
one for clothes and glass. So I've been doing this since 2009, including.
Very good, very good.
Preeti ji, congratulations on your birthday.
Thank you.
Yeah. So my couple of questions. See, actually, in terrace garden, I saw that you have kept 2 bricks on two set of bricks and then you have put your basket and started growing
Yeah.
the plants. But in this case also, through the bricks, there will be water seepage into your roof, right? Are you trying to avoid it through some or the other way? That is my
Water seepage is only there if there is a rainy season.
rainy season. Yeah.
Otherwise, water seepage is not there that much. So in rainy season, I put this basket under a shade.
Okay. Fine. And the other thing is, okay, I mean, you said that you have a well and then you, the rainwater is harvested directly into the well, right?
Yeah, yes.
I mean,
But it is
somewhere
filtered in between. In between, it is filtered through. In the pipe also, there is a filter. So it is filtered in
Okay.
between and then transferred.
Okay. Because I saw somewhere that we should not directly put the rainwater into the well. Instead, we should have some, passages around the well and then allow it to flow through it so that.
That is through
so-
soak pits. Yeah, to soak pits.
Yeah.
But in this system, actually, I keep my terrace clean because it is a personal level. I keep my terrace clean and I clean it quite often so that and I have provided filters on the terrace itself so the biomass doesn't go in, and there is also filter in the pipe. Within the pipe, there is a sand filter. So and that filter is cleaned quite often after 2 months, 3 months after a season, so that the well doesn't have any this thing.
Okay.
कचरा नहीं जाता उसमें.
Okay. Thank you, Preeti ji.
Things actually, probably Didi can make further advancements, and wishing her on the eve of the 60th birthday. 2-3 things. One is everyone has a capacity. Everyone over here, they have some sort of a kitchen garden being practiced in their homes, which the vegetable wastes have been coming. So some sort of a matrix in which how this simple vegetable waste which are coming in the urban context could be made use for growing things which are at the microgreens or other aspects which have been coming in the market. So probably such reflections would be also adding meaning for operational thing, because most of the waste have been going only to the dustbin, which is not segregated also. So how best they can use it in terms of the waste, vegetable waste or egg waste or whatever it is, depending upon the nature of waste, that could be given some sort of a pragmatic thing so that which they could continuously use it, or a system for purchasing those waste across the places. So that is one part of it. In fact, the experiment of Vivekananda Kendra NARDEP on NARDEP compost and biogas slurry compost, in fact, books which are brought out on this definitely would add value to it. And we intend to come out with your presentations which you have made and take relevant extracts and come through as podcasts in our Vasudha exhibition, so that we should add more value for all the people for generations to come as such. Thank you, Didi, for the time given for us and also an opportunity for us to dwell in it. And I request working group members, as said by Vasudev ji, that you post your mail IDs and we'll keep you informed about our subsequent events which you can join, and also have clarification with the respective resource persons on your areas of interest and engagement. Thank you, Anand.
Thank you, sir.
लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु। लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु। लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम।